Shalom, this is Rabbi Mark Hillel Kunis, and my taste of Torah for Parshat Devarim 57:81. Because Jews all over the world are now in the midst of the 9 days, a mourning period culminating in Tisha B'Av, the saddest day on the Jewish calendar, I'd like to review with you my Tisha B'Av message for this day, in which every great tragedy that ever happened to the Jewish people occurred or had its roots in something that occurred on this day. The greatest tragedy in Jewish history, of course, was the Holocaust, where 6 million Jewish souls were cruelly torn from this world. The decree to establish the Warsaw Ghetto was adopted on Tisha B'Av, the 9th day of the month of Av, 1941, and the relocation to the concentration camps began a year later on Tisha B'Av, 1942. It's now 76 years since the end of World War II. Some ask, is it time to forgive the Germans? But I ask, can we forgive? Let me share 2 Holocaust stories with you that try to answer this question. Rabbi Jack Siegel tells the story of Eva Kor. Eva was a 10-year-old twin when she and her sister Miriam were taken to Auschwitz, where the evil Dr. Mengele experimented on them. The experiments were painful and very unpleasant, but it enabled them to survive. You see, all the other children their age were immediately taken to the gas chambers in the crematoria. In 1995, at the 50th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz, Eva stood by the ruins of the gas chambers with a former Nazi doctor who had worked with Dr. Mengele on these twin experiments. Eva read a document of forgiveness and signed it. She said, "The time has come for us to forgive the Nazis. More than a half a century has gone by since this atrocity occurred. We must forgive them so we will be able to talk to each other." Wow. I doubt if I could have done that. She was a survivor. But was she right in offering forgiveness? Simon Wiesenthal, in his classic book, The Sunflower, tells of the time in the concentration camp when he was taken to the bedside of a mortally wounded SS officer who asked to speak to a Jew. He writes, "The Nazi confessed that he shot a Jewish father and mother and their young child. The Nazi wanted the Jew, me, to forgive him so that he, the Nazi, could die in peace. He sat up and put his hands together as if to pray. I want to die in peace, and so I need." Wiesenthal says, "I could see that he could not get the words past his lips. But I was in no mood to help him. I kept silent. Here lay a man in bed who wished to die in peace, but he could not, because the memory of his terrible crime gave him no rest. I stood up, I looked in his direction. I made up my mind, and without a word, I left." Elie Wiesel often said, "Only the dead can forgive." Who can forgive on behalf of the 6 million Jews the Nazis viciously slaughtered? So no, said Elie Wiesel, Simon Wiesenthal could not offer forgiveness to that guard. That could only be given by his victims. So who's right? Eva Kor or Simon Wiesenthal? Perhaps in a sense they are both right. Yes, as Elie Wiesel puts it, only the victims can really forgive, but as Eva Kor would have it, we cannot continue to hold guilty future generations. A few weeks ago, we read in the Torah about Korach, who rebelled against God and Moses. He, along with his followers, was subsequently killed. But the Torah adds, Uvenei Korach lo metu, the children of Korach did not die. They were not punished because they separated themselves from their father and his evil deeds. How fair is it for future generations to bear the sins of their fathers if they have changed their ways? Yes, we mourn on these 9 days the atrocities thrown upon us at this time of the year by the Babylonians, the Romans, the Crusaders, the English, the French, the Spanish, the Cossacks, and of course the Germans. We mourn, but we don't hold their children responsible. And the most remarkable thing of all is that we haven't become bitter through it all. After each tragedy, we somehow picked up the pieces and began again, built new lives, and in fact, celebrated life. The purpose of these 9 days, culminating in Tisha B'Av, is not to explain our suffering, but to allow us to relive it, to re-experience it, and to take it in each year so that the pain remains an immediate and powerful force in our lives. Why? So that we make sure that never again will such things happen to us or to anyone else. It is so disheartening to see how anti-Semitism, that seemed almost extinct in America just 10 years ago, has come back with such a vengeance. The New American Defamation League survey reports that more than half of the Jews in America have either experienced or witnessed some form of anti-Semitism recently. Fortunately, the ability of Jews to stand up to anti-Semitism today is greater than it has ever been. So, my friends, let's not be complacent. Remember, never again. Have a great Shabbos.